I am a little disappointed that we're not seeing some of more of the newer members here, but that's okay. Last week, I was haunted that when it came call for the roster positions at the end of the meeting, I felt there was a real hesitation, specifically for the formal speeches, but also for some of the other roles. It made me realize that maybe people just don't really understand what they need to do with respect to Toastmasters to get the most out of it. So this morning, I wanted to talk about the why, the what, and the when of Toastmasters. So why? What's your why? Why are you at Toastmasters? Ben, you're pretty sharp. Why are you at Toastmasters?
To keep getting better at presentation.
Right on. How about you, Franco? You've been around a while. You're in the back nine. How come you're in Toastmasters?
Well, because my whole life is a continuous improvement, and working with a group like this just helps me so much.
Thank you. Brenna, you're a doctor. Why do you need Toastmasters?
I find it helpful for learning to give feedback to people who are also learning something.
Awesome. You know, the thing is, we all have different whys of why we're at Toastmasters. My why is I really value the ability of people to get up at the front of the room and deliver a message. When it's done right, it's awesome. And when it's not done right, it's painful. It's painful to watch. Can you imagine what it's like to be the person delivering that message? It's not good. My own story is back in the mid-90s, I did a speechcraft class at my work. And so it was like a series of 8 lunches on Mondays, culminating in a speech to a small group of like 10 to 12 people. At the end of this 8-week session, the guy said, look, if you're looking to improve in this public speaking vein, join Toastmasters. So I looked to my buddy and said, what do you think? Are you in? Oh yeah, let's do it. So I looked up in the white pages and I found Toastmasters in the white pages, gave them a shout, and I found a club. And lo and behold, lucky us, it was across the street, 1 block away in the Husky building. So I said, hey, it's so easy. You joining? And he said, it's not convenient for me right now. Maybe later. Anyways, I joined, and fast forward 2 years later, and I saw this friend, coworker of mine doing a presentation in a rather, a small presentation room, about 100 seats, and there are only 25 people in the room. And he must have known at least 15 of them. Yet he was up at the front of the room. He's wearing a light blue shirt. He's pointing to kind of the board. You could just see the sweat like from there to there in this light blue shirt. And it was so painful to watch. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure glad I joined Toastmasters 2 years ago. It made a huge difference. So that's my why, and we've heard a few others talk about their why. So what's the what of Toastmasters? So what do you need to do? Thing is, you need to get active, and that's getting on the roster. When I joined Toastmasters, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe we just had lighter numbers, but it felt like I was on the roster every week. And if I wasn't on the roster, I was doing table topics. And, there's some benefit in observation, but with Toastmasters, osmosis doesn't really work. You really got to get in and get involved. And that's getting on the roster. So as you sit there and wonder, so what should I do? I've broken this down before, but as I look at it, there are kind of 13 positions on a typical Toastmaster meetings. There's chair, Toastmaster, speech 1, speech 2, table topics master, 3 table topics, a timer, grammarian, GE, 2 evaluators. So if you simply rotated and did each one of those 13 positions 3 times a year, you wouldn't even get through that 3 times a year, because there's essentially 37 meetings a year in our Toastmaster year. So that's what the goal should be, is to kind of do that. Now we're down to 29 meetings a year. So if you just did this yourself, did it in 2 rotations, you'd have a fantastic Toastmaster year. So with that, you have to look at it as Toastmasters is a commitment. And you being here this morning, that's great. You did your hour. I applaud you. So there's 37 meetings, 37 of those. So that's 37 hours you're contributing to your Toastmaster experience. But what I'm suggesting is you need to commit another 37 hours. Just like, an hour class, you need an hour study. And that 37 hours can be spaced out over the course of the Toastmaster year. And how I get that 37 hours is certain roles are going to take a lot of time, like a speech. That might take you 4 to 6 hours. So if your goal should be 4 to 5 speeches in a year, so that's like 25 of the hours. But then you got to remember, like stuff like the 3 table topics, that's no time. Evaluation is almost no time. Certainly chair and Toastmasters take a little bit of time, but they take a small portion of time compared to speeches. So overall, I think it's a reasonable estimate that if you contribute 37 hours to your 37 hours of class time, you'll have a great Toastmasters experience. So what's that look like? I don't know how you're going to get that other 37 hours of that 8,760 hours this year offers, but that's on you. If you do, however, do those 74 hours and you commit to those for 4 years for a total of 296 hours, I think you'll have really landed on the great Toastmasters experience, and you'll be better than your peers. You'll be better than you ever were in terms of presenting. You'll be more comfortable. And when those moments in your life ask you to deliver, you'll be able to do it. So when? Well, I think you got to get it on it now. So one of the things, if you go onto your onto the website right now, you'll typically look up any week and you'll see Franco's face. And you'll probably see Dagmar's face too. Because what they've done is they've gone ahead, and I haven't checked out throughout the year, but I imagine they've gone throughout the year and they've done exactly what I've talked about. They've planned their year. And so they know they don't have to stick up their hand at the end of the meeting as they look ahead next week, because let's face it, that's human nature to kind of go, I don't know if I can do that next week. But if you just commit yourself and say, look, I'm just going to do all these things, they're going to come up when they may, and I'll just be ready for next week. Well, then you'll get the job done. You'll have a well-rounded experience because you've done all these roles and you just move forward in progress. But that's really what it takes. So, hey, I've been negligent this fall. I've been very busy with, important stuff like watching football. So I haven't, but I commit to all of you by next week, I will be in the roster for the remainder of the year. Now, I won't be there every week because there'll be a few weeks that I want to do table topics, but my Toastmaster year will be planned out by next week. And I encourage all of you to do the same. That's something that just should be planned out, and then you forget about it. We shouldn't get to the end of a meeting ever again and say, hey, we got 2 spots open for speeches. That just isn't the way. And you, as I look around of the more seasoned veterans, that's what you should be looking for your Toastmasters experience to get the most out of it, so you make the most of your time. We're not getting up at this early, like Franco enjoys getting up this early. I don't. So I just want to conclude with, I talked about the why. Really figure out why you're here, right? Because that'll, I think, help drive the what you want to do, and when, hopefully do it now. And then if we do that again, we'll never have that uncomfortable experience at the end where there's 2 left spaces for speeches. So I'll see you on the roster, people. Be well.